So then I was like, if you're going to put a thumb in there, make sure you use more bacon grease.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do. What up, everybody? It's 2Geeks1mic, and we're coming back at you. I got new do in the Geeky Tiki, and we're going to have an episode of good, fun, happy times. Cheers.
Yay, not me though.
Not you. You're having the purple dew, which is still good.
Yeah.
Still delicious.
Is this one good? The blue one?
Oh.
That is good.
Oh.
I like it.
Yes. Yes, it is. Would you like to?
Yeah, I'll take yours.
Yeah.
I know where his mouth has been.
Well,
we're already off the start.
We're 90 seconds in.
Oh, that's kind of good though.
Right?
I a little bit regret my choice now.
Lucky for you, I have a 12-pack and a brother who will fetch. But let's kick it off tonight. You guys know me. I'm Josh.
I'm in.
And that's Kelly. And we're here because we did an extremely cool thing over the weekend. I know. Calm down. It happens every once in a while. We went and saw the new Nosferatu.
Except it wasn't over the weekend, but
It was on New Year's Eve.
it was on New Year's Eve.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
So close.
But
So
it was
close.
a
But
a
still cool,
holiday.
and that was the
So
point.
we were off work, so it was a free week.
Look, I'm in my Bermuda Triangle week right now. Time means absolutely nothing right now. So, anyway,
What is time?
we went on Tuesday and saw Nosferatu,
Very good.
and it was really great. We'll give like our if you follow us on TikTok. Oh my God, words.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow us on TikTok, you can see that we did a non-spoiler review on TikTok. Just a real quick, hey, how are you? How do you do? Kind of a thing. And we'll kind of review that, expand on that a little bit. So it'll be spoiler free for the first little bit. But then we're going to talk spoilers tonight. So this is your warning.
So many spoilers. I have a lot to say.
We're ready because this was, oh my God. So we already rated it as 15 total geek splats. Like we splatted all over this movie. It was great. This movie was so good. That's how good it was. Okay.
It is no less chaotic on this side. Also, there's like stuff in the way. I was thinking like maybe it just seems chaotic. No, it's so chaotic over here. It might be worse than watching it on the other side of the camera.
For those who don't know Kelly, she's usually the peanut gallery yelling at us and making fun of us during our shows. This is the wonderful face.
That's my role.
Nosferatu was so good. She was like, "Get me on camera right now.
No,
I need to talk about this movie."
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No. I got my arm twisted. It's fine. Everyone who knows me knows how much I love it.
Let's
love being
check the replay here.
Play
what
back
is
the
said
receipt.
when I am inebriated cannot be held against me, especially on camera. Thank you.
Okay, so we went and saw Nosferatu. We all three of us enjoyed it amazingly. Let's do what we did on the TikTok. 10 seconds. Just what was amazing about the movie? What did you enjoy about it?
The editing was what I think I said in the TikTok maybe
The camera
originally.
work.
Yeah, the camera work. Yeah. I since have a little bit flipped on that. I have other things that are kind of have like the more I've thought about it and sat with it.
You let it marinate a little bit.
Yeah. I have some other stuff, but it's a little spoilery, so we're gonna like
hold that off.
Hold that part off for a while. Yeah.
Okay, so like there's always like the movie that you watch and it's like cool, and then there's the movie you watch and you're like, I'd buy the DVD, I'd watch it again, and then there's the movie it's like I'm seeing this again next week in the theaters. What level is that for you?
I really want to see it again in the theaters quickly, because there's a couple of things that I'm not sure if I registered that correctly, and I just want to double check. There's one edit in particular I've talked to you about a little bit, that I really just want to see again, because I think maybe I was missing stuff because I was so focused on the set and the backgrounds that I might have missed some stuff. So for me,
we need to go see it this weekend.
Yeah. I was gonna tell you, but
okay, cool.
We'll just do that on camera. It's fine.
Right. Now everybody knows.
Yeah. What our weekend plans are.
Right,
Sure,
right.
really.
Was it good for you? Eamon, how about you?
So I'm over here too.
Sorry.
No, mine was definitely like the prosthetic work and makeup and all the costuming and things of that nature. Just on point. It was great. So much good work there. And the voice that Bill Skarsgård pulled off for Nosferatu. I was like, oh. I get why my wife's in love with him now.
Have you listened to him talk about it though? About the voice?
Okay,
because I could listen to him talk about his process for this voice all night long, and I would be totally fine with it. And I'm also a little.
Oh no!
Oh God!
Yeah! Oh no!
Great, they're already singing. Wow.
What is in this? Actually, some whipped cream vodka would probably go really good in this. It would be way sweet though. We'd need something to.
Yeah.
You know that you know what I mean by that.
Why not just like regular vodka?
Tito's.
Tito's.
We could Tito's it up. Good. And down. For me, I love lighting, right? I love in photography when there's like artful photography and they've got really interesting lighting. And one of the things I loved about like the Addams Family movies was Morticia. She was always Angelica Houston. They always had her eyes lit up and it was so good. I just love that. So I love when there's creative lighting, and this movie had that in spades. First off, like, I mean, we won't get into spoilers, but like it was just so well lit, and the camera work was, I don't know how to say it, but it was like it was mechanical to the point where it was so steady, and then it would like stop, and then it would move again, and there would be just a seamless cut, and my heart. The whole time I loved it. It was at times the movie itself was so beautiful it was kind of hard to follow the story. So I too wanted to go see it again because it was that engaging from a visual
especially being a movie that happens mostly at night, still being able to see everything.
Yes.
I was like, ooh, you figured it out. They found the key to it. I don't know how, but they figured it out.
I do, because I did research.
We did she did research.
I did research.
Some people are actually prepared when they come on show.
I don't know. Robert Eggers, I think he had really good vision for this movie. If you guys are familiar with his work, he's got a very unique eye for direction. He does a lot of the very clean shots. Hi, Lumi. Like I saw The Witch and Nosferatu are the two Eggers films that I've seen. I want to see The Lighthouse.
Same. I missed it.
Why? Yeah.
Like I don't know how. But
I love Willem Dafoe. Is Willem Dafoe and Eggers going to be like the new Johnny Depp and
I don't know about that.
Why does his name escape me?
It is interesting though that
maybe
you've mentioned a duo, because did you know?
I love Did You Knows.
He works with the same cinematographer and all
really?
films, and they have a whole process of figuring out lighting. It's great. You're gonna love it.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. I'm super excited.
Yay, research.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to throw out there that is spoiler free before we move on to the main event? I'm going to take that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you're good. You take over. It's your show. I don't know why I'm here.
I was just going to say, I'm going to take the stunned silence in the room as a resounding, let's get to the spoilers.
Spoilers!
So if you've not yet seen Nosferatu and do not want to be spoiled, now's your chance to retreat.
Run away
Stop what you're doing and go watch it, and then come back
and watch
and let
it.
us know.
There you go.
Comments, whatever, however that goes. However
What
you solicit for that,
she-
I don't know how to do that, but
You did perfect. It was
Yay.
great.
I love it.
No, but for real, like go see the movie and then come back and watch the rest of this, because I'm sure this is one of those movies. I think, like you were saying, we're gonna watch it again and we're gonna notice new shit.
Oh,
We're gonna
100%.
watch it again and we're gonna notice new shit on top of that. And it's part of the reason why I love the camera work and the lighting so much, is because it seems so simple. It looks so clean and contemporary and basic, but there's so much depth of field in there, and I love it so much.
True.
I love how Lumi is just like the dog is like slowly working her way.
Lumi, do you want to come
into-
say hi?
Yeah.
Do you want to pop up? Come here. It's time for the Lumi to say hi to the viewers. Oh, come here.
Studio dog. I can't figure this out.
She's like,
She's like, no.
much like me, she also hates the camera.
Just there's actually a dog here.
Down here. Yeah.
Okay, spoilers. Spoiler time.
Spoiler time.
Nosferatu. From a review from a spoiler perspective.
So I went into this. I've looked up a little bit, but I didn't want to look up too much. And the thing that everybody kept saying was, oh, he's largely kept in the shadows. But there is an excellent shot of him very quickly right at the beginning that I was not expecting whatsoever, because I had read so much about he's largely in the shadows. So that very first scene,
Yeah.
right, where you just get that quick glimpse of him.
Whereas Ellen is praying.
Yeah,
And he comes to her,
and he comes to her. But the prosthetics and the color palette that they used for that scene differ from the rest of the show.
Wow.
They definitely leaned in, because at that point in the story, he has essentially been buried for around 200 years, and she wakes him up. And so
right. She's got the prayer. She's asking for a friend.
Essentially,
And instead of getting Stitch, she got
gets
Count Orlok.
Yes, she does. So there was
Leela was very
intention.
lucky.
There was intention behind him being much more degraded in that. And it's a very quick thing. But I don't love a jump scare, and I loved it. I thought it was so shocking, but in such a quick way. And then it moved on so fast from it that you didn't even really have time to process what you were seeing. And it was the most like the original film that he looks throughout this film. So I kept waiting to see that again. And so when you start to get the newer version of him, after they've interacted, after he's been awake for a while, and he looks much more like a man, that just made that scene at the beginning so much more poignant to me.
Yeah.
Right. It stood out to me so well, that just like first shock scene of seeing him.
Because I share your disdain of jump scares. It's cheap. It sucks.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. But this proves to be the exception to the rule, where if you do something well, you can get away with a lot. And they really, I didn't know that was a different prosthetic. That is cool. So
yeah,
I like that. I like what you were saying about how it's a jump scare, but it's like it happens so fast. You really only get a glimpse of Count Orlok, and then he's gone, and she's having a seizure, and it's like, okay, so what the hell just happened?
Right.
Also, all of her seizures are purely acting. There's no CGI enhancement
so
or
good.
movement.
She is so good.
They did have to work with camera angles to be able to get all the different shots because it was moving so quickly.
Right.
And in some of her scenes, they it was so physically taxing. They were like, okay, we've got like 3 shots and that's it.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't lose her voice.
Yeah.
So yeah. So but that is all 100% her.
Wow.
Dang.
That's impressive.
I like Nicholas Hoult in this movie a lot. He comes in as our, I don't know, we'll go with the names because I keep forgetting the names. He comes in as Thomas Hutter, right? He's a young real estate person. He's trying to get, make a name for himself. He's trying to win a salary for his new bride, Ellen. And his boss sends him to Transylvania. And this is, by the way, and this is all very true to the original Nosferatu story. That is exactly what the original guy did. He went to Transylvania where he was, or if you saw the Bram Stoker's Dracula, that was Keanu Reeves. That was his story. That was his character. It's a good one. It's so good. But he goes in and he is also just brilliant, right? Like his acting sells this movie in so many ways that's just terrifying and great.
Yeah.
He's what kind of makes my favorite scene, which is where he shows up to the castle for the first time. Count Orlok lets him in, and Count Orlok, of course, with the voice, my attendants are all asleep. It is after midnight. Oh, Daddy, what? Sorry. So Thomas Hutter comes in, sits down at the table, and he's like immediately visibly shaken, right? Like something's not right. He's not okay. And you're in, in a lot of ways, he is kind of, I won't say he's stealing the scene because you are so, like, you're looking to see Count Orlok. You want to see him because he is very much in the shadows. He's very much mysterious. But Nicholas steals the scene. Like, he keeps your attention on him as well. And it's a really great balance. And I think there are things that I missed in that scene as well that I want to go back and see. Because there are stuff that the quick transitions that they make, kind of turning it into a dreamlike state versus reality, where you've got Count Orlok just sort of like over here, and then like his hands will fade from the shot and immediately come into the other side of, and you're just like, what is happening? And there's this transition where they focus in on Thomas. And he's, his face is just terrified. And then as they pan away again, he's in front of the fire and he's not at the table anymore.
Yeah, the whole transition to that scene.
And that's where we're saying the cuts and the edits and the filming played so well with the acting and the way these characters came together and interacted together.
Oh, 100%.
He also just, I think, sells the fear, right? Because it is such a visually stunning film. It's gorgeously shot. The amount of detail in every aspect of it, right? You really feel like, as a viewer, drawn to look around the set, and he's very grounding.
Yes.
He does so much acting just with his eyes. Like, he's not even like vocalizing as much, but and he is like breathing heavy, but we're seeing a lot of like breath work, which I feel like has become kind of trite here lately. It's showing up in a lot of horror films. I personally am not a fan. This was a much more subdued version of that. You got the fast breathing, you got the heart palpitations. There's like literally a point where you can see his heartbeat in his back. And I clocked that in the theater, like, oh, that's so detailed, especially for a film that is largely shot by candlelight.
Yes.
that amount of detail, right? So they're working with very, very fast shutter speeds. They're working with very fast cameras to pick all of that detail up. But he's such a grounding presence,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
He keeps you locked in so you're not getting lost in the detail. I don't know. I thought he did amazing.
So what she just said, that's what I wanted to say, but she just said it way better. So have my Eamon, what did you think?
Well, not being the biggest film nerd that you two are,
I can't word. I can't word.
can't word today. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Especially your podcaster.
It's too bad I'm so bad on camera because all I do
You're-
is word. I have
you're-
opinions
you're-
about everything.
You're
killing
so
it.
horrible. You're so horrible right
Uh-huh.
now.
Well, I feel very awkward. So, you know.
But no, like I said, my favorite part was definitely the whole makeup work and prosthetics they did. I love vampire stuff in movies, but I always feel sometimes they focus so much on two teeth being the pivotal part of a vampire, and you didn't have that in this. Like you barely even saw his mouth at all. You basically had the tooth marks in people, and that's all you knew he had that. But
well, and they kept his very like Romanian,
Romanian. Yes, Romanian noble look, which is from the original. He was a Romanian noble. But giving him also like a vampire with a mustache. Do that ever.
Yeah.
And just the decay work that they still had on his body when he's in the coffin, when he's walking around. It's
The
so
scene
good.
where he feeds on, where you first see him feeding on Thomas,
yes.
where he's very, very like creaturistic, right?
Oh yeah.
He's got his teeth sunk into Thomas's chest, and his whole body is like convulsing in this eerie way. And I almost kind of giggled at it for a second. Like it was almost funny to me because of how like weird.
It's almost like he was humping.
We had very different reactions to that. If you almost giggled, I was feeling very differently.
Okay, well there was
yeah.
but it was just but the overall comment goes to the commitment to the body movement, to the selling of he's not a Twilight vampire.
No.
He's not this glamorous, sexy, beautiful Interview with a Vampire type vampire.
No.
He is the decrepit,
Rotting
decayed
corpse
monster. He is the vampiric monster, and it's
so in that scene, and you're gonna have to look because I'm not gonna look up everybody's names, but the guy that plays Thomas,
Nicholas Hoult.
Could feel like after they filmed that scene initially, and the Eggers was like, "So how did you feel about it?" And he was like, "Well, mostly I could feel the prosthetic dick," and he got gifted it, and he has it framed in his house because of that scene.
And don't worry, you do get to see the dick.
You do,
yes,
yeah.
You do. Yes.
Yeah.
Full on
Okay, but I will say,
vampire dick.
I have very mixed feelings on prosthetic dicks in general. Like, there's a lot of, I don't know, it has to be really good, right? But a lot of times I don't like them in films because they are scene stealers, quite literally.
Yes.
I mean,
You
true.
can't not notice if there's a naked penis in a film, right? Like, very rarely can you just not notice that. This was so subtle that it was not the attention grabber for me.
It was blended so well into the scene.
Yeah.
Hi, Goose.
Oh, Madam Goose is in the chat.
I'm Mr. Goose. Hi, baby.
But no, there is definitely when you see it, because it's when he stood up out of the coffin. It didn't like bring your eyes immediately to it, and that's all you saw in the scene. You still got that chance to look at his entire physique and everything
and again,
they put together.
The lighting, because half of his body was still in shadow.
Mm-hmm.
He's standing over Ellen. He's standing over Ellen
when you see the dick.
when you see the dick.
No, that's in the castle when Tom almost stabs him.
Oh no,
yeah.
you're right. You're right. No, because Thomas goes through the castle. All the doors are locked. He's freaking out.
Finally has his chance to end
Oh
it,
my
and
God.
he misses.
And we
sunlight.
skipped right over the castle.
Okay.
Oh my
gorgeous.
God,
Look.
the castle.
Some of the best. Remember when you and I watched Saltburn?
Mhm.
And we kept commenting, oh my God, look at the camera angles, look at the camera shots, look at the setting of these images. They were so good. This was better.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just because again, research, the castle that they filmed the outside of is the castle from the 70s Dracula movie. They
awesome.
Right? They originally wanted to film in Transylvania, which is where that castle is. But for budgetary reasons, they couldn't. So the film is largely shot in the Czech Republic. They used full sound stages, so they wanted to have a very operatic feel for the sound, and it was easier to control the lighting because they do largely light this film. It's mostly lit by candlelight, fire, and moonlight.
Yeah.
So but then they filter that. They filter that to take out all warmth so that you're getting blue tones because humans do not pick up warm tones in natural moonlight. We pick up blue tones. And so that's why our vision differs from like an animal. So they wanted to capture that. So they washed it all out with blue filters so that it would more mimic what we can see, which is not a lot. And that is how they created that practical effect of that eeriness.
And they did it too, but how many times have you gone to a horror movie and you can't see anything and it's just dark? And it just sucks because you can hear things happening, but you can't see anything. So it's like, why am I even here?
Right.
Not this though.
No.
You can see, you're there, you're a participant. And it's amazing. And I love where you're going with the natural lighting because there's the scene where he first gets into Transylvania and he gets into the little gypsy camp.
Oh my God.
And he goes into the inn and they close the door and it's entirely lit with candles and flames. And I love this. I was thinking about this as we left because we were processing. We're still processing. We need to go see it. But did you notice that as he's in the room, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter because his eyes are adjusting to the dim light.
Also, the fire is less than 25% CGI. They only went in and added in some details. That's all real flame.
Yeah,
all throughout the film.
cool.
That's real flame that they're using, and they use mirrors and stuff to reflect it around the scene. It's very cool. It's very cool. If you have time and you're a nerd for details like I am, you should absolutely look it up. The cinema photographer for this is my possible new geeky obsession.
Favorite.
I'm down. I'm way down the rabbit hole on this guy. He's very cool.
I'm up on up on IMDb. Cinematography by Jaron Blashki.
Yeah, I will butcher that.
So sorry.
I'm gonna spell his name so that you can look him up.
Look him up because the attention to detail on this is amazing. Yeah, and if you like technical detail, this guy, his interviews are for you, like tailor-made. He's excellent at giving an interview.
So I'm gonna look and see what some of his other film work is. So we already kind of discussed some of these, but he did Nosferatu. So he did a movie called Knock at the Cabin, The Northman, and Gel featuring The Hunter.
We're very professional.
The Pale Horse, Servant, A Million Eyes. I want to watch all of these. Right. Enclosure, The Lighthouse. That's the one
it's on our list.
It's on our list.
Down a Dark Hall. Oh, I think this is my new list.
Just gonna watch every movie.
Backroads, Souls of
I hear
Totality.
great things about Shimmer Lake.
Shimmer Lake is the next one. What's that one about? We're getting sidetracked.
We
I don't
are.
even care.
Yeah.
Ooh,
The
it's got
ADD
Rainn
is
Wilson.
so real around here.
Okay.
It's got Rainn Wilson. You know that's
Put it
gonna
on the
be
list.
amazing. Because Rainn Wilson's amazing. Oh, John Michael Higgins.
Mm.
I love him. He's so much fun.
Chaos. Pure chaos. No better in front of the camera than behind.
No, absolutely.
Look,
Nope.
the ADD is ADDing.
Yeah, we always
Uh-huh.
ADD.
And then, of course, the witch.
Which I love.
Which was good.
So I know Josh is not like a huge fan of it, but also we don't largely take his word on horror movies. In case anybody didn't know out here, he's not really a horror fan.
It is not my preferred genre.
Yeah.
I get it.
But when they're done really well, like Nosferatu, I like them. And I will say The Witch was done very well. It was a very pretty movie. And I like Anya Taylor-Joy. So.
You don't say.
You can't go wrong.
She was originally supposed to be the main girl in Nosferatu, and then it took so long for production for them to actually start filming that she was
signed on to something
signed on with
else.
something else. And
You
they had to
gotta,
switch,
you
but-
gotta, you
Yeah.
gotta
You
get
gotta
the
get her
good
early.
ones while they're ready.
Yeah.
You can't just sit around waiting all day. Oh man,
Okay. What else?
I'm thinking.
I have so many things.
Go.
Apparently, this is just my show tonight.
Hey, that's why we brought you on.
Yeah.
You are the expert.
No, I was just,
You're an expert compared to me.
I was just nervous because I don't do well on camera. So Bill Skarsgård worked with a vocal coach for singing to develop that voice.
Ooh.
And he worked at it relentlessly because he didn't want it to sound like it was a voice that he was putting on. He wanted it to sound like this was
Very
natural
natural.
coming out of him. So
Okay.
he stayed in that character and in that voice, and worked on it obsessively till he got it perfected,
Wow.
which I thought was an excellent detail. Also, we talked a little bit about this before we started filming, but can we just take a moment to say the Skarsgårds, man?
Yeah, killing it.
Just killing it. Killing it.
I love that family.
Yeah, they
So
are.
good.
They're doing great. They really are, man. If there's a Skarsgård in it, it's probably going to be a good.
That's probably good.
Mhm.
Like Dune was good,
Mhm.
and
Crow,
the Crow,
Vikings,
Vikings, Floki,
Loki,
Girl with the dragon tattoo.
Girl with the dragon
That one's
tattoo.
gonna be my favorite.
John Wick
Always.
4.
What was the Star Wars with Daddy Skarsgård? He was the. I'm gonna have to look it up now
Oh,
because that one was amazing.
I feel like I know this, but
fuck. What
With
was it?
Stellan Skarsgård, and it was Andor.
Andor. He was in Andor. That's right.
He was in Andor,
Yeah,
but I thought
that's
he had. He
was a very. He wasn't.
I'm pretty sure he had another one because he was like the main character.
we're off on so many tangents here. But
Ah,
I will say I
we do
do
that.
think that Bill Skarsgård in particular is my favorite out of this very talented family,
Mhm.
because he's so method,
Oh, 100%.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I love a method actor. Like, just
Yeah.
get too into it. I'm
mean-
I'm too into everything. So
Especially with this one, though, I love it when an actor can literally completely change herself. If you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't know that was Bill Skarsgård. Not just
That's
because of the
true.
prosthetic work, but because the voice change and
That's
everything
true.
else he did.
The way
I'd
that
have
he
no
moves
idea.
his body too,
Oh.
like that man is missing joints or he has extra
Something.
something. I don't know.
Something of that nature.
It's
Well,
insane. to
I
me.
go back to the feeding scene. It was so animalistic. It was not.
Both of them.
It didn't look like a
Yeah.
human performing that. It looked like a beast, a monster.
You know what else that I loved about the feeding scene specifically, which is just such a like again with like the tiny details, like the nods to everything, right? Like you can tell when a filmmaker is a big fan of the source material, right?
Mhm.
Because there's so many nods without things being direct rips. One of the things that I loved about this, which was just so small, but all of his bites on Thomas are on his chest.
Yeah.
And it's very reminiscent of the Bram Stoker's
Yes.
Dracula, where he's being bitten by, you know, the
three
bride,
ladies,
right?
yeah.
And
The lady vampires.
and they're not on his neck; they are all on his chest.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that direct rip of them. We had the wolves instead to represent them, but
Yes.
all the bites being in the same area was like
Yeah.
such a little detail for a film nerd. I loved it.
I like that you went to source material, because one of the things I think I love most about this iteration of Nosferatu is that it is uniquely its own movie, right? It is uniquely its own. It stands on its own two legs. It is not an adaptation. It's not a retelling. It's not a new turning. It is uniquely its own movie. With I'm still bitter, okay?
Like,
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
My other show just got canceled.
Half your fan base just was like,
Later. They're like, deuces, motherfucker. But this movie had nods and tributes and very, very elegant, beautiful tie-ins to all of its predecessors.
Oh, 100%.
There were really great callbacks. There were really great, mirroring. There was really great referencing, and it was so well done.
Mm-hmm.
It gets me emotional.
like you can always tell when somebody is passionate about something, right?
Yes.
It comes through. It's almost always going to come through. There are exceptions to that, but it's usually when studios get involved and kind of take the reins on stuff. But you can tell when a filmmaker is really invested in something, right? Because they do pay so much homage to the source material, but also just a little like detail that has nothing to do with the source material. But apparently he also has other little tidbits that are in reference to other types of filmmakers that he finds inspiration from. One of the shots of the outside of the house is a direct nod to the Grand Budapest Hotel, like the way that it's blocked. So it's a lot of things in there, and I just personally, I love a technical film nerd like that. Like, that's my jam. I love it when it comes through.
I love when you've got a reference like that that is literally only there if you know to look for it.
Yeah,
because even if you don't know to look for it, you still resonate with it. You can appreciate the detail that went into the blocking that you recognize somewhere subconsciously that you love. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that either.
Well, and I was thinking it like that scene, there's like, because the house is all in shadow, so you just get those like very symmetrical building. But the way that it is filmed, like it's so close in, and you have like the sky kind of just around the top, and it was very reminiscent for me. I was looking at it thinking like, God, that looks so familiar. And I looked it up after, and that's what it is. It's that like sort of iconic shot of the Grand Budapest.
Love it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool detail.
I love that we are 40 minutes into this and haven't even talked about the elephant in the room, which is Professor Alban Eberhard von Franz, played by crazy man extraordinaire Willem Dafoe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
he killed it.
It was so much fun.
It
was so much fun watching him. One of my favorite things is they talk to him. They talk about him as if he's a lunatic, right? He's gone down this rabbit hole of the occult and magic and alchemy, and it's just really stupid. But he's still a really smart guy, so maybe we should call him in.
Yeah.
And he walks in, and they previously in the scene, the other doctor who's been attending to Ellen has been like, "Oh yes, I'll administer her ether. Then make her sleep in a corset. She has too much oxygen."
God. The tightening of the corset as she was having the panic attack literally like made me squirm. That was like one of the hardest parts of that film for me. I was like, oh,
or
like
just straight up chloroforming her.
Yeah. And you've got these barbaric medical treatments that were common, like that were commonly practiced back then.
Let out the
That
blood.
this doctor is like, oh yes, well, that's what we'll do. And then the second Willem Dafoe walks in, he's like, what the hell is going on? Untie this poor kid.
Why is she tied to the back?
The crazy guy is the smart guy who is like the one who's like, this is barbaric. Why are you treating this person like this? I loved that. I loved it. He immediately came in from the beginning and just listened to her, and it was amazing. But
Listening to women.
what?
What?
That is
Why did we do
crazy.
that?
That is crazy.
Who would have known it would be Willem Dafoe of all people?
But even then, he seems to come in, and you would think with a very big character, a very big sort of presence that Willem Dafoe has, especially when he's playing a very eccentric type character. It's real easy for him to sort of overpower the scene and steal the scene a little bit. He didn't.
No.
He, again, the character dynamics, the character chemistry blended so beautifully that he came in and was immediately, you know, hey, I'm going to do all these things. And everybody was just like, okay, yeah, cool, let's go with it. And I don't know. There were arguments back and forth, obviously, because, you know, character drama. But his role in this movie, he's even the one that kind of like suggests that Ellen sacrifice herself.
Oh, 100%.
It doesn't kind of see that.
Well,
He
Ron
basically
does
goes,
it.
this is the only way this
He's
is
like,
going
the only way this ends is because she's going to sacrifice herself. It says in the book
Yeah.
right here.
Well, because, yeah, he ended up, they went to the head of the real estate agency that Thomas was working for.
Which, by the way, what an underrated character.
Holy
not-
crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, can I just say,
Simon McBurney as
I-
Knock, yes.
anybody that knows me, which nobody watching this really does, but I hate birds with
Oh,
every
Oh.
like fiber of my being. I hate birds. And there's an
Oh,
excellent
no.
bird death scene in this
Oh,
movie. And
man.
it was one of
That-
those like little details in the film that I was like, yes, give it to me.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, I thought he was great. I also loved him just kind of like mad giggling as he like dance moves
Oh,
through
yeah.
the courtyard. Like, just a lot of like really little choices there
Oh.
that I thought really lent to the eeriness.
okay.
And the fact, my favorite part, so you're first introduced to him as the boss of the real estate agent. He's a very well-mannered guy. He's got all this, okay, here's your assignment. And then the next scene, he's butt naked inside a pentagram on the floor,
Okay, but
picking
wait,
his own blood out. I was like, holy crap.
did you notice in that very first scene the scabs on his head?
Yep.
Because I pointed it out to
Yep.
Josh.
I
I
did not see 'em.
immediately he turns and you can just barely see it. Like there's already like little hints that there's something not right with
something
him.
It's
Yeah.
subtle enough
It's
that you
very
could be
subtle,
like,
yeah.
maybe he's an old man with shingles or something like that. But no.
That's funny. I was gonna go with syphilis, but shingles it is, I guess.
Syphilis was more common back then.
I mean,
Thomas
exactly. Like time period
Okay,
accurate.
go for the period accuracy. Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
But I do love, you can see, especially like the doctor who's initially treating, he does have that progressive mindset, but he wants to stay within the confines of what's going on. We don't use those dungeons anymore. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, okay, so
You
let
should
me
use those dungeons more. Just saying.
So let me ask you this. Did he bite the head off a real bird?
That is the question.
Because look, that was a close shot.
I
He was holding the bird right.
I'm gonna go
And it
out
was
on
moving.
a limb and say no because I can't
gonna Google
imagine them letting him get by with that.
Yeah, I would feel like it would be like-
I feel like he is
yeah.
going to lose their mind.
Yeah.
Animal cruelty
Nosferatu
groups that would not like that.
Yeah.
But
bird
how did they do that?
was the bird.
Like, I guess if it was like a small animatronic,
Yeah.
and then he bites
Yeah.
it, and then when he bit, like he squeezed a blood bag or something.
So I don't know about the bird specifically, but I do know that in the rats, with all because there's a lot of rats,
A lot
right?
of rats.
And I think they had something like 1,000 live rats or something like that. But they needed them to perform in certain ways, obviously, and you can't always accomplish that with an animal. So, or a rodent, I guess. But shut up. But anytime that they had to do CGI rats, they used the real rats as the basis for their look and their movement so that they matched up.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's what it was. Probably that I'm sure there is a real bird in some of those scenes.
Yeah.
No,
And
that bird was
then-
real in his hands initially, and then they
and then they
flip it for something else.
do probably a combination of animatronics
And so
and
that's
CGI.
again, that becomes the question, because the scene transitions are glorious.
That was the other thing.
They're S tier. They are.
The girl that does the editing, and she's got not really a whole lot of credits on IMDb, but I was so deeply impressed by the edits in this film.
Film editing by Louise Ford.
You got there faster than I did. Yeah, she's amazing. I can't even talk about how smooth these transitions are. Like, there is a scene where you see a character walk into a doorway and it looks like the same body continues to walk through, and they're without any kind of visual discernment, it is a different person walking into the room. It is so seamless.
Ooh.
It's so smooth.
She did an edit of the Telltale Heart in 2008. I kind of want to see that. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're fine.
I
I'm
can't
just
find
rambling.
the bird, but did you know every single rat in that movie is real?
That's what she was just saying.
So even when they did have to have them perform in a way that they couldn't have like the live rodents interacting with people, they used a combination of a little bit of CGI and animatronics, but they patterned it after the actual rats that they had so that you couldn't tell the difference. The CGI version literally mimicked exactly what the real rat looked like.
Wow.
Yeah. So much detail.
It said there were 5,000 live rats on set.
Wow.
That's insane.
That is insanity.
There's so many rats.
Ooh.
5,000 live rats. I was going to talk about how many prosthetic pieces, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because that was the other thing that I thought was
And
really impressive.
We kind of jumped around, and that's fine. Welcome to the show.
It's almost like we have no direction and don't know what we're doing.
One of these days. Count Orlok is, we kind of talked, he's a Turkish noble man. He's at one point in time, he's got the big fur coat, he's got the big fluffy hat, and he's got the giant black mustache. He looks amazing. And then like Eamon was saying, there's shots where you see the full body, you see the whole prosthetic, suit that he's wearing, and the detail, especially the detail in his hands. You see a lot of his hands. There's a lot of hand work, and
he has prosthetics on both top and bottom of his hands, 8 finger extensions with nails and 2 thumbs, and it's all blended to disguise the edges. That's the only detail about the hand.
And see, the thing is I knew there was prosthetics because nobody has an 8-foot long finger, but he still, but he still does a great job.
Sorry. It's like, why don't I have booze?
He still does a great job of making it look like his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
He could go get a pedicure, though. He could use a pedicure.
Okay. Speaking of the prosthetics, though, can I just tell you my most favorite part of anything to do with that, and it was such a small scene, is at the very end when he's on top of her and he's got like decayed parts of his body, and her finger slips into one of the holes, and it's so subtle. It's like just barely.
And
I was like, oh. It's so unnerving, but so
all the ridges and bumps where you could see where his bones are still sticking out, and like,
I thought it was hot.
So yeah, so in
whenever
the
I like
movie,
monsters.
in the movie, she lures Orlok away from his sarcophagus because he must return to rest in the ground, in the earth that he was buried in.
Right.
So he brought the earth with him to Germany from Transylvania. And that's where he goes at night. He returns back to the earth in which he was buried. Sarcophagus. Cool. Nice little loophole. Well, at night he leaves, and they decide, well, if he leaves, we can destroy, we can sanctify the earth, which was, I think, one of Willem Dafoe's greatest scenes in this. He just gets insane, and he's laughing crazy. It's great. And she calls to Orlok, and basically is like, I give myself willingly. And if you're into monster stories, you know what I'm talking about. This is your scene.
Yeah.
This is your scene.
It was a good one. Like, I'm not even ashamed to admit. I love a monster porn. Like, I'm all about it. I think it's fun. I will read it. I will watch it. I don't care. It's funny. This was a good one.
Yeah.
I was not mad at it at all. I kind of loved it, honestly.
I'll point it to someone when I read. So Nosferatu was the first movie when the original film came out that sunlight affects vampires.
Yes.
And they turned to dust. But they went away from that in this. He doesn't turn to dead. He just straight up died on top of her with all the blood draining out of his face, which was so good. And then the shot though coming up when they're both dead on the bed and just his body on top. Holy crap. It looked so good though.
I loved it.
It looked so good.
Pretty.
It was, well, and then
I mean, I know it's not supposed to be pretty, but it's just such a pretty film. Like, it's great, but it's gorgeous.
Well, and then, you know, you've got Willem Dafoe's character comes in and puts lilacs, surrounds the bodies of lilacs, which was one of the scents that Count Orlok loved about Ellen.
Yeah.
And so it was, but yeah, you could. It was one of those transitions again, because in one scene you had Count Orlok in all his undead glory on top of this woman consecrating their nuptials in the way he do.
Nuptials?
Look.
Nuptials. Consecrating their nuptials. That's what we're going with. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I guess when it's that good, it's that good. You just don't realize you've been up all night, right?
I mean,
some of us lucky ones have been there before.
Okay, but that's the subtlety about it too, though, right?
This is a mess. I'm never doing it again.
Oh no,
we're shooting one more episode.
You're in forever now.
We got another episode to shoot tonight. I don't know what you're talking about.
About that.
Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. In that scene, like, he keeps like lifting his head up, and she keeps like, "It's okay, come here, come back down, more,
come
more."
on.
And he's literally just draining her of all of her blood, and she's
that intoxicated,
just keeping him there until sunrise.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, it's so. I don't know. It's like because you always have the hero story where someone stays behind and dies for the heroic death and for God and country or whatever, and it's always this glorious battle. And it's like, she fought probably one of the most difficult battles, because it was a slow draining of her life. She spent
all night long,
an entire night holding the attention of the vampire who is killing her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if that's not the hero of the story, I don't know who is.
Yeah.
Like, oh God. Because even if they didn't sanctify the earth, even if they didn't, that was really 100% just Willem Dafoe's character getting Thomas away for the night so she could sacrifice herself.
Yeah. 100%.
Nobody else did anything in the movie.
I also, just as a woman, like, I know that this film is largely made by men, but I really did like how much detail there was about how frustrating it can be for a woman when no one around you is listening.
Oh,
yes,
and
sure.
Also, I loved that they included the scene where she is talking to him as a lover and telling him, I don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
I have moved on. yeah, I committed to this willingly at some point. And his obsession with her, that's, I mean, it's obviously like a grotesque way of telling that story, but I don't know, as a woman, that resonated with me. I felt for her. I think a lot of us have experienced a man that just won't let go, and you're frustrated because you're not in that same place. You're like, but I don't have these feelings for you anymore, and I want to move on. And I loved that they made intentional choices to point out the sexism surrounding this whole situation. Not just with Dracula, but with her husband, with her husband's friends, like just the doctors, like all the men in her life. And she is absolutely the hero of the story. They would all be dead if not for her.
Yes.
Like he was, absolutely wiping out the town. And she stopped him.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I thought that was a very cool detail, especially to be done by a male filmmaker.
Yes.
You don't see that detail in a lot of male-oriented movies. So
Sure.
I appreciated that detail.
Yeah, and that was and again, like I said, they did very much do the she has an affliction, and they're doing all this really terrible stuff. They're dosing her, they're bloodletting, they're putting a corset on her, they're tying her to the bed. Yeah. And it's like, holy shit, like, for the crime of like being afflicted by a demon. Right? Oh, you've got the devil in you. Time to torture it out of you.
Well, and think about that, like, if it hadn't been a demon, right? Like, she's literally seemingly having seizures. Yeah. Like, if this all could have been religious nonsense, and she could have just,
surely that
been epileptic.
Didn't happen back then.
Wow.
I'm glad we've come a long way since
so far.
So we've talked about Nosferatu, and we could go on talking about Nosferatu because it was that good. It was that good. The attention to detail was there. The obvious love for the project and the craft was there, and it was there. It was present in everyone. It wasn't. This wasn't Egger's pet project that everybody else was just kind of like, okay, we're gonna do it for our buddy.
Everybody was passionate about it.
Yeah,
everybody was like
100%
committed, amazing, and it was fantastic. It was probably the best movie to watch at New Year's to ring in the new year.
Yes,
set a good tone.
I want to put this out because I found it. Okay, so obviously the pigeon was swapped out for an edible version. This is straight from Eggers.
Okay.
A quote. But when Simon first gently gnaws on the bird, that's the real bird.
Oh.
And he was not scripted to do that. He did it out of complete I'm going to do this.
That makes
me commit to the scenes.
So the close-up shot. So, okay, so he has the bird, and this is what I thought. He drops the bird out of sight, like but he does it in a really natural way. No, it's not like,
he's like,
I've got a bird now. I don't have a bird now. I have a bird again,
and I'm gonna eat it.
No, he does it. He's very much like hunched over. He's like back, and the bird dips out of the frame for a couple seconds, and that must be when he swaps it.
A quick swap with some CGI editing to help.
There would have to be like someone. A stage crew there ready to like grab the bird.
Oh, there's someone literally laying down on the ground right below and like
grabbing the bird because the bird just like flies off, ruins the shot. Whoops! Damn it, bird!
No, yeah, he was not scripted to, but he's gnawing on the actual bird's head there.
I love it, but also I love anything where a bird does.
Poor birdie. Petey didn't even have a head. Harry. I took care of it. Baby. That's one of the best scenes. I love it so much.
And we're done.
We're done. All right.
Yeah.
Go see Nosferatu.
Very good movie.
And go watch all of Eggers' other movies too, because oh my god, they're great.
Yes.
They're amazing. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for geeking out with us. If you went and saw Nosferatu and you also love it, please leave a comment below and tell us why you also agree with us in every single way possible.
Or come on
about
Discord and
how
we'll discuss
amazing
it
it
with
is.
you live.
Go to our
Yeah.
website, which is scrolling on the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, right there.
Website.
And join our Discord. Follow our socials. Do all the stuff and things.
Yes.
And yeah. Wherever you are, we hope you leave here just a little bit more geeky than you were when you got here. From all of us here at 2Geeks1mic, I'm Josh.
Kelly, just stopping by and then leaving.
Wonderful, wonderful special guest. Thank you. And I have been Eamon, and stay geeky, my friend.
Oh, you know what? I should have clicked the button.
Yeah, maybe.